Number 5. Is 2 to the 4th equal to 2 times 4? Explain. The answer is no, because 2 times 4 is 8. But if you write it out, 2 to the 4th is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Now, if we were to solve that, we would get 2 times 2 is 8, and then times 2 times 2. We would do 2 times 8 is 16, and then times 2. And 16 times 2 is 32. 2 to the 4th is equal to 32, whereas 2 times 4 is equal to 8. So they are not the same. Number 6. A bacterium cell splits into 2 cells every hour. Write and evaluate an exponential expression to find how many cells there will be in 6 hours. Then use your answer to help you find the number of hours it will take for there to be 1,024 cells. So to write the exponential expression, that means write a problem with exponents. We're going to take our 2 cells every hour and put our exponent of 6 for our 6 hours. That means that our problem is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. And if you were to multiply all of that out, you would get 64. 2 times 2 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16. 16 times 2 is 32. 32 times 2 is 64. For the second part of the problem, we want to figure out what number x is if it's 2 cells per hour for a total of 1,024 cells. So we have to work backwards. If you continue on this path of 64 and multiplying by 2's, you would say that 64 times 2, which would be 2 to the 7th, is equal to 128. 2 to the 8th is equal to 256. 2 to the 9th is 512. And 2 to the 10th is 1,024. It would take 10 hours for there to be 1,024 cells. Number 7. The population of California is about 39 million. Is this greater than or less than 10 to the 7th? Explain. So for 10 to the 7th, if we wrote it all out, we would get 10 7 times. If we were to multiply all of that out, we would get 10 million. 10 times 10 is 100. 100 times 10 is 1,000. 1,000 times 10 is 10,000. 10,000 times 10 is 100,000. 100,000 times 10 is a million. And a million times 10 is 10 million if you solve that completely. 10 million is less than 39 million. Number 8. Write each of the following numbers, 1, 8, 27, 64, and 125, as a base raised to the 3rd power. So you have to figure out what numbers will fit in each of these blanks when multiplied to the 3rd power equals that number. We did 27 in class, and so you should have 3 to the 3rd power. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. For 8, the answer is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. For number 1, the answer is 1. 1 times 1 is 1 times 1 is 1. For 64, the answer is 4. 4 times 4 is 16. 16 times 4 is 64. And for 125, the answer is 5. 5 times 5 is 25. 25 times 5 is 125. Number 9. The exponential expression 2 to the 8th has a value of 256. Write 2 other exponential expressions that have a value of 256. Explain how you got your answers. Begin by writing out 2 to the 8th as a product of 2's. So it wants me to start by going 2 to the 8th, but writing it as a bunch of 2's, specifically 8 2's. It then wants me to make another problem. So I'm going to group my 2's. I'm going to group them in sets. When I did that, I got 4, 4, 4, and 4. You could say I had 4 to the 4th power, which equals 256. Another problem would be to keep going. I would take my 4 to the 4th power, which is 4 times 4 times 4 times 4, and I could then combine those numbers, just grouping them. 4 times 4 is 16, so 16 times 16, which is 16 squared, 256. Your answers, your other exponential expressions, are 4 to the 4th and 16 squared.